Hi there and welcome. Today I'm going to be giving the Tyranids a little bit of a break, and instead I'm going to be focusing in on some of the Space Marines from the Leviathan box set. Specifically the Infernus squad, and today we're going to be doing the Ultramarines chapter. We're going to be doing this rough and ready. We're not going to be using any advanced techniques or advanced equipment. All we're going to be needing is our dry brush, our paintbrush, and some speed paints, and a couple of other standard paints that most people would normally have. So let's get into it. First of all, we're going to prime the model black, and then we're going to take Nagroth Knight and we're going to paint in all the armour parts in purple. We can leave any of the other parts of the model in black. And if we do get any of the purple onto there, we can always clean it up a little bit later. We're then going to dry brush the entire model in grey, and I went for Vallejo Stonewall Grey, but really any light grey would do here. The key here is to keep the tip of your dry brush slightly damp, and you can do this by using a dampening pad. And once you're ready, just grab some of the paint onto the tip of your brush and then wipe the excess off onto a paper towel, or even better, a dry brush palette. We do want this to be a fairly heavy dry brush, so once you're ready, grab your brush and start applying the grey all over the model, only leaving the deepest recesses in purple. And if you need to, you can switch up your brush to a smaller brush size to get into some of the harder to reach areas. We're now going to paint in all of the gold parts of the model, and the reason we do this now is if we do make a mistake, it's going to be very easy for us to come in and fix it with our grey paint. I'm going to be using Army Painter Speed Paint's Glittering Loot, and this is my first time using any kind of metallic speed paints. And I have to say, I was quite impressed with this. It does provide a really nice kind of rich gold colour with just one coat. So I definitely will be using this again. And there's nothing really special here at this stage. All we're doing is giving all the metal parts, which is the trim on the shoulder pads and the Aquila on the chest, one coat of the Glittering Loot from Army Painter. Next up, we're going to work on increasing the depth of shadows and contrast on the model by applying a black wash or shade all over the model. I went for scale 75 black shade, but again, any kind of black wash or shade would do here. Nuln Oil would work as well. We're using a 50-50 mix with any glazed medium, and I also added a couple of drops of water in as well. And we're just going to paint this over the entire model and allow it to flow into all of the recesses and darken and shade those areas. And once that's dry, we're going to move on to painting up all of the armour. I decided to go for Vallejo Express Storm Blue, but really there are numerous options when it comes to decent Ultramarines blue out in the market, so any kind of Ultramarines speed paint here should do the trick. I decided to go for 2 thin coats of the contrast paint, just to see how that would work out. So I just made sure that I wicked off any of the excess paint before applying it to the model. And just applied 1 coat all over the model, giving it plenty of time to dry or use a hairdryer. And then applying another thin coat to the entire model. And once that's dried, we then want to start to highlight up the armour. So we're going to grab our dry brush, and first of all we're going to apply Citadel Lotheren Blue, and we're going to want to hit all of the high points on the model and all of the edges as well. This is going to be a lot lighter than the original dry brush, but you are wanting to hit most of the areas on the model so that the dry brush leaves a nice kind of edge highlight across all of the edges on the model. And once that's done, we're then going to switch over to Fenrisian Grey, and we're going to do the same thing. This time we're going to be even lighter than we were with the Lotheren Blue, and we're only really going to hit the top highlights. Just try not to overdo this step, and remember that less is more with this final highlight. We're now going to start to add some more depth to the armour, and we're going to do that by applying a wash of Drakenhof Nightshade, and we're going to mix this wash 50-50 with water. We're not doing anything special here, just apply the Drakenhof Nightshade all of the armour pieces, allowing it to flow into all of the recesses and tint the entire model. The only thing to watch out for here is if there's any kind of pooling that occurs, and just kind of keep an eye, going back and forward on the areas that you've been painting to check out if there is any pooling, and use your brush to mop up any that you see. We're then going to go back in with another dry brush of the Fenrisian Grey, and again this is going to be an extremely light dry brush, and we're only going to hit the very highest points of the model. And again, less is more here we do not want to blow out all of the nice kind of depth of colour that we've built up in the previous steps. We just want to add a little bit of definition to some of the edge highlighting. We're then going to finish up all of the rest of the model that we'd missed in the previous steps, and we're going to start off by painting any of the areas that we want black or metallic, and we're going to do that by using Citadel Contrast Paint Black Templar. And the areas I painted here were the insides of the elbows, the backs of the legs, the areas I wanted on the backpack that were going to be metallic or black, and then we also painted up any of the purity seals as well. I used Citadel Grey Sear for any of the paper parts, and then Vallejo Express Plasma Red for the seal itself. I then painted up all of the black areas on the gun, the Citadel Contrast Paint Black Templar. And then painted up all the areas on the gun and the backpack that I wanted metallic with Vallejo Oily Steel. I then painted up any of the parts that I wanted in leather, using Vallejo English Uniform, and then gave it a quick dry brush highlight with Vallejo Japanese Uniform. But again, any combination of brown and light brown would work here also. I then applied a wash to all of the steel parts of the model, using my Scale 75 black wash, but again, any black wash would do here. I then highlighted all of the black parts of the model, and I started this by using a light dry brush of Citadel Skavenblight Dinge, followed by an even lighter dry brush of Vallejo Cold Grey. Next up was to tackle the plasma burn on the rifle, and this was a really easy thing to do. I just used a combination of Speed Paint's Glittering Loot, Express Paint's Deep Purple, and Express Paint's Storm Blue. But really, any combination of gold, purple and blue would do here. Just start painting from around halfway down the barrel of the gun with your gold, and then switch to your purple, and then at the very tip, make it blue. And the final few steps were to do a quick shade of all the metallics, leather and purity seal with Agrax Earthshade, before painting up the eyes with Vallejo Express Plasma Red, but again, any red would do here. And after all of that, the model is finished and ready to be based. I hope you all enjoyed watching this video as much as I did painting and making this video. I am really happy with the way the model turned out, given that the majority of this was painted with speed paints and dry brushing. I am going to be making another attempt at painting up Ultramarines, but next time I'm going to be using an airbrush rather than using the dry brush. So don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos. And I'll see you on the next one.